Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to look at the SPY, the QQQ, and the IBB. Let me just point out one thing that there's a lot of frustrated traders out there, including myself at times, but I still keep my bullish leanings based on what I see out there and not try to be as dogmatic as I'd like to be. Saying all that, I know traders out there who are, in some cases, possibly shorted too hard based on what they see on the numbers. But the numbers don't always speak the truth because the numbers don't talk about human emotions and BGT, which is behavioral game theory, that I keep on promoting and keep on explaining to my members and subscribers. The bottom line is behavioral game theory says that we can make new highs, but if we don't have a large participation rate from the market, and from investors, retail and institutional, we are not going to get any substantial top because there's always going to be underperforming fund managers, hedge fund and mutual fund managers, specifically hedge fund managers, which have been clearly shown in a bunch of in the actual statistics that they're lagging the market anywhere from 6 to 7%. So that means that the market's up about 8% on the S&P, if I'm correct. So the hedge fund managers are up about 2% or 1%. I mean, that is a complete recipe to get fired. And like I used to joke around in the old days and say that's a complete recipe to have your wife leave you, your dogs and your kids and everyone leaving you, because for years in a row since 2009, the hedge fund manager, the majority of hedge fund managers have underperform the market. There is an ideological war going on out there between what the Fed's doing and completely fighting it, the Santellis, the Cashins of the world, the Fabers, and you name it. And mind you, I respect these people. But they're fighting an ideological war. That the Fed actions and the monetary actions that have implemented by the central banks of the world are not going to work. Well, I'm in no position to tell you whether it's going to work or not, but the fact is that I'm a capitalist and I believe that trickle-down economics does work, supply-side economics. I don't believe in government control, but then at the same time, I believe that if markets go higher, eventually trickles down to the normal person. And that's it. So let's take a look at the SPY on the weekly. We can clearly see, without getting too technical, I'm going to try to keep these things simple. We are looking at around 201 or 202 as the top. And you can see that from here. Okay, there's nothing here in the internals, anything that tells me that we're going to all of a sudden crash and burn. Can we have intraday corrections? Absolutely. I've been talking about that. And I think that September is going to be a rough month coming after the, till the middle of the month. But at this point in time, this is what I'm seeing. Let's take a look at the QQQ, which has taken a lot of victims, people who have been mostly on the short side or at least tried to game the QQQ. QQQ is basically completely out of control right now on the way up. This is the NASDAQ Power Shares QQQ. And this is living up to its name, Power Shares. This has left a Bollinger in a hurry. This is called escape velocity. Okay, so if I draw the line here, the escape velocity was right here. So right now it's up here. So what do? Anything here is not telling me that we're going to crash and burn. So escape velocity says there is no resistance up here, and we could go as high as 102.5. Is that too optimistic? I don't know. I'm still playing with 30% of my capital, and still not going ballistic and hog wild and getting all bullish and going crazy, deploying 80% of my capital that I did do in the middle to latter parts of 2009 and the early parts of 2009 and 2010, and it did work out very well. So, saying all that, if you were just glaring at this screen, which I'm glaring at, a nice 26-inch HP, okay, and you got to get big screens to see what's going on, which reminds me of a very important point. When people complain they don't see certain things, well, get bigger screens, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. I didn't say that, Confucius said that, okay? A picture is worth 1,000 words. Get a huge couple of screens and you will see things a lot more clearly and not as stupid questions, which is no problem. I can always field good questions. Stupid questions, it's a tough time to, answer, a tough thing to answer. But the bottom line is, you gotta get big screens. You don't need to have like 8, 9 screens like I do. I'm probably gonna have 10 by the end of this month. You need to at least 2 or 3, or at least 2, so you can monitor all the different things that's going on. At least monitor what the Clueless 8 net service is giving you, and that's certainly going to help you out. So please don't look at an iPhone all day long and try to say, see what's going on, because that will not show you. You need to have a clear, transparent view of the market. Okay, enough said. So at this point, we're well above the Bollingers, and you know what? This is probably going to 100 and 100 plus. The QQQ. Let's take a look at the IBB, the Biotech Index. Let me scroll down here. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you, as I remove all these little things here, that I said this thing was looking fine. You don't believe me? Go look at my videos from a couple of weeks ago. I said this was looking very good. At this point, we're at the top end of the Bollinger, and it's probably going to overshoot. Okay, 276 plus. One more merger, one more acquisition, and the biotech index explodes higher. This is incredible. I'm the first one to tell you that I did very well on a bunch of the biotech picks, the Regeneron, the PCYCs, and the Danions, which are still in the swing charts, but I did not follow my own dictum all the way. So, despite my whole theory, I still think it probably gets up here, to be honest with you. Let me look at a duplicate drawing. And again, I'm no genius, I'm just telling you the truth. At this point, probably gets to about 290. Now what does that mean? That means a couple of big mergers and acquisitions. PCYC going to 150, Athena going to 160, whatever the case may be. I've shown you the charts. But this is what happens. Markets can stay overextended and stay higher just the way they stay oversold and oversold for weeks in a row. We've seen that happen. Newton's law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. The reaction, I said this before, listen to my video cast, on the upside would be violent. Dead cat bounce, well, I can't say that word. You know what? This is a dead tiger waking up to bite the bears. And this is what happens. It's called liquidity. Markets go up because there's liquidity in the market. When liquidity dries out, when the water dries out of the swamp, that's when things go down. Do I see water going down the swamp? I don't think so. Look at it yourself. Central banks across the world injecting liquidity. So that's what matters. Let's take a look at the RVX if I have time. What is the RVX telling me? Let me move all my technical stuff out of here. The RVX is telling you that we are going down. Would you buy this chart on a weekly basis? I don't think so. On a daily basis, it's still going down. 1521. Let's look at a 1 hour basis. Well, it's kind of bottoming. So we can have intraday. You know what this 1 hour chart tells me? We can have intraday pullbacks. But what's telling me what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks is that we're probably going to go down to about 14. Let's take a look at the VIX. I only have a few seconds left for this. Take these out. This is the chart of the VIX. The VIX is kind of bottoming a little bit, okay? The weekly is saying like the S&P's probably gone up enough. The Russell 2000 still has time to move. And you know what? That's it. I mean, the VIX is showing us that the market probably, it could possibly go down to 7.5. I don't think so. I think we find a bottom somewhere around 10, 13, 1039 or 10. And right now I think it's a short-term bottom. So that's what I see. That's all I'm going to say tonight on the charts. Think about what I said. Let's not be dogmatic. And there's only one other chart that I'm going to show after this.